Hello everyone, welcome to Developing Success, and today's lecture is again about the current affairs section. So recently the Ken Betwa River Interlink project was signed on the World Water Day, that is 22nd of March. So it was signed between Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh and the Ministry of Jal Shakti. So these three were the stakeholders in signing of the Ken Betwa River Interlink project. So today we will see what are the challenges in this project, what are the environmental problems in this project, and how much this project can help the people of Madhya Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh. So let's begin. So the Ken Betwa Interlink project is actually shared in between Madhya Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh. So there are two rivers which are actually the tributaries of river Yamuna. So first I will show you the river Yamuna course. So this is your Uttarakhand and here is your Yamunotri. So from the Yamunotri glacier comes out the Yamuna river and it just flows on the borders of Haryana and Uttar Pradesh, and then near Delhi it diverts towards Uttar Pradesh and flows through Agra and nearby areas, and ultimately it joins the river Ganga in Allahabad. Okay, so there are another two rivers, that is one from this area, that is Madhya Pradesh area. This river is known as Ken. So this river joins Yamuna river, and another river is Betwa river. It joins the river Yamuna here. So these two are the rivers. The first river is Ken and this river is Betwa. And the main river is Yamuna. So Yamuna is the main river and the tributary of Yamuna river is the Ken river and the Betwa river. So scholars in 1980s, they pointed out that Ken river has surplus water, and this surplus water should actually transfer to deficit water of the Betwa river. So deficit regions of Betwa river will be linked by this canal, and this canal is known as the Ken Betwa river interlink canal. So the Ken river, the river water of the Ken, which will be surplus, will be actually transferred to the Betwa river. So this will solve the problems of the Bundelkhand region. So this is the Bundelkhand region. It is shared between the Madhya Pradesh and the Uttar Pradesh area. So this is the detailed map of the river interlink project. As you can see, this is the detailed map. As I showed you, this is the Yamuna river, this is the Ken river, and this is the Betwa river. And on this red line is made the link canal, the river interlink project. As you can see that there are many biodiverse areas like this Panna National Park. Also here we have Ken Gharyal Sanctuary also, and that makes this region a biosphere. So this is one of the 18 biosphere reserves of India, that is the Panna Biosphere Reserve. And in this Panna Biosphere Reserve is the Panna Tiger Reserve situated, and also the Ken Gharyal Sanctuary. So this makes this region a very important biodiverse region. So in this Ken Betwa link project, apart from this river interlink canal, there are some dams also which are planned, like this one, O Dam. Also here is a dam, Daudhan Dam. So Daudhan Dam and O Dam, they are the part of this whole project. And also we have a Kotha Barrage here, down here, Kotha Barrage, which makes the whole project complete. Okay, so I will tell you in the background of this interlinking of the rivers. Actually this background relates to the 1980s development of river basin plan, which was planned by the then government, so by the Ministry of Water. The objective was very clear, as I told you, to move the surplus water of any river to the water deficit regions. Okay, and around 30 rivers were identified in Himalayan system and also in the peninsular system. And as you know, Himalayan system are the snow fed rivers. They are the rivers, they take their birth from the glacier melt, and in the peninsular river system, you know that they take their birth from the rainfall system. Okay, so 30 rivers were identified for the national, interlinking of the rivers, and the idea died down soon, as we all know that in the 1985 to 1990 was a big turmoil period for India. and we had to take loans from IMF. Our economy got opened that time, so that time this big investment was very unrealistic and this whole plan died down. But when Atal Bihari Vajpayee became prime minister, he proposed the idea of setting up of national water grid. So by connecting and interlinking the rivers and making the rivers fruitful, because a large amount of water gets destroyed and they're unused in the flood areas. So the idea was to where there are surplus water in the rainy season, they can be transferred to the deficit regions, and every area can share equally the benefits of water. So this far-flung dream of Atal Bihari Vajpayee was actually given the nod on 22nd of March 2021 this year on the World Water Day, and the three ministries signed the plan, that is the Ministry of Jal Shakti, Government of Uttar Pradesh and Government of Madhya Pradesh. So the project is planned in two phases. Okay, the first phase is like this system. So in the first phase, the river Ken will be having a Daudhan dam built, and also a link canal will be built between river Ken and river Betwa. And in the next phase, the lower dam or dam will be built, and also the Kotha barrage which is situated here. So these are the two phases. As you can see, a large number of area will be taken by the canal system to be built. The red mark, if you can see, will be taking a far-flung area, into its thing, and a large number of area will be submerged when this Daudhan dam is built and the lower Or dam is built. So a large number of people will be becoming homeless, and a large number of trees will be felling because of this project. Also, the biodiverse will also be getting disturbed. So this is a matter of concern in this project. Now I will show you the detailed map of Madhya Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh, and here you will be able to identify the portions which are marked in green. They are the Panna Tiger Reserve area, and in the Panna Tiger Reserve area, around 4,000 hectares of land will be submerged, and the biodiverse region is holding the population of tigers and vultures, and you have gharials, then you have mahasir fish in the river Ken. So all will be destroyed because of this particular dam, which is Daudhan Dam Reservoir Dam will be built. And when this canal will be built, which I have marked in the red, then again around 4,000 hectares of land in the forest area will be submerged, and it will be totally taken by this canal system. So a large number of area is involved when this interlinking project is being built. So apart from the environmental concerns, we have social concerns also, because many people will be becoming homeless, and their resettlement and rehabilitation should be planned in this project itself, which has not been planned. Now I tell you about the objective of the project. So when the government is making this project, what is the benefit which they are seeing through this project, that I'll tell you. So the benefit they see is around for irrigation. So they say that 10.62 lakh hectares of land will be possibly irrigated if this water is used efficiently. Apart from that, 62 lakh people will be getting drinking water supply, and 103 megawatt of hydropower is proposed as a part of the link canal to generate electricity. So that can give you the power. And water benefit to thirsty Bundelkhand. As we all know that the Bundelkhand farmers, they actually suicide in their region because of less fertile soil and lack of water and lack of agricultural land. But I will explain the Bundelkhand part to you, and there I will tell you that Bundelkhand does not have the water scarcity. It has the awareness scarcity, because a particular amount of rainfall is received by Bundelkhand. So the farmers there should be made aware about the crops with which they can sustain into that kind of rainfall. Another benefit government tells is that it will create employment during the execution of the project. Obviously, when a large canal and reservoir like this is built, so employment is obviously taken by many of the people here. The formation of the reservoirs will also have tourism development, fish and aquaculture, and bird sanctuaries. First of all, already 4,000 hectares of tiger reserve will be destroyed, and also Ken Gharial sanctuary will be largely affected. So this point I found very lame, about tourism and aquaculture and bird sanctuaries, I don't think that it will benefit. Instead, it will harm the area. So let us see the Bundelkhand area now. So these are the particular districts which we call together as the Bundelkhand region. So there are districts from both Uttar Pradesh and Madhya Pradesh. If you take Uttar Pradesh in concern, then Chitrakoot, Banda, Hamirpur, Mahoba, Jhansi and Lalitpur. These are the districts which are covering the Bundelkhand region from the Uttar Pradesh side. And when we talk about Madhya Pradesh, the districts are Datia, Tikamgarh, Chhatarpur, Panna, Damo and Sagar. So these are the districts of Bundelkhand. So Bundelkhand region is actually water scarce region, people say, but I will tell you that 80 cm annual rainfall is received by Bundelkhand. And Bundelkhand is kind of sandwich zone between the two monsoonal areas. So if I show you the India map, and this is the ISO height of 100 centimeter, that is the 100 cm rainfall line. And if I show you more, then this is the 60 cm line, this is the 40 cm, and this is the 20 cm line. And again you have the Western Ghats region. So in the Western Ghats region, anywhere it is above 150, and this is the Eastern Ghat part, it is around 100. So this is 100 and this is 150 plus always. So, and when you take into consideration this area, so this area 60 centimeter, this is 60 plus. Okay, so 60 plus, it will convert into 100 when it comes here. So that is why this Bundelkhand region, it falls into 80 centimeter zone. So 80 centimeter zone is that area where neither the pulses can't grow, also the millets, what we call it, jowar, bajra and ragi, they cannot grow. Apart from that, the rainfall is needed for around 90 cm to 100 cm for wheat cultivation, and rice is always above 100 plus. So this 80 cm zone is that zone where no crop can be grown. So the government is telling that by this link canal we can provide irrigational facilities, and 80 cm annual rainfall can be given some more water by the irrigation facility, and it can become 100 cm or 90 cm, and then some production of wheat and some production of rice can take place here, and the people of Bundelkhand will not be starved anymore. Okay, so this is the idea of there in regard to the Bundelkhand region. Now, what are the clearances they require to run this project? See, they require 5 kinds of clearances. The first clearances that is required is by Central Water Commission. So that is techno-economic clearance, that is around, in regard to the technology what will be used and in regard to the financial outlay. Apart from that, it requires the environmental clearance from the Forest and Environment Ministry, that is Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. Then it also requires resettlement and rehabilitation clearance, and also the plan of tribal population, because Madhya Pradesh is holding one of the largest populations of the tribal people. So many of the tribal people will be displaced because of the upcoming project. So they also need to get a clearance from the Ministry of Tribal Affairs, that is MOTA, and the wildlife clearance by the Central Empowered Committee. So as I told you, it is a great biodiverse region, and it holds the population of tiger, vultures, mahasir fish, gharial. So it is a kind of vulnerable situation for this. So now we do the critical analysis of this project, and here we will talk about the challenges and the matters which are against this project. So first of all, the hydrological figure that the Ken River has surplus water was long back said in 1980s. Okay, so after this statement, no independent scrutiny has been done about the surplus water in the Ken. As we all know that rainfall has decreased in the late years, and we do not have sufficient monsoon every year. So many scholars believe that the Ken River, which was in 1980s will not be having the same situation in 2021. Another critical analysis about this project is that the National Water Development Agency NWDA did not approve the forest clearance and has suggested structural changes. Obviously, because around 12,000 hectares of land will be submerged, and in this 12,000 hectares land, 9,000 hectares is the forest land. Total land is 12,000 hectares which will be submerged, and 9,000 hectares of land is actually belonging to the forest land. So the proposed 78 megawatt powerhouse shall also not be constructed in the forest area, and that no building material is taken from the forest. As we all know that construction involves great pollution, aerosols in the air are actually given by the construction sector only. So that is why it is suggested not to build any powerhouse there, because that will obviously create a hassle in the environment and it will create a polluted environment. So also the environment clearance is pending before the National Green Tribunal. So these are the challenges before the project, because all these clearances are yet to be got by the project. Now I tell you about some of the negatives of this project. The first is, as I told you, 9,000 hectares of forest area will submerge, and in this 9,000 hectares, 4,200 hectares is the core area of the Panna Tiger Reserve. And as we all know that according to the Wildlife Protection Act 1972, it is illegal to occupy the core area of any of the national parks or tiger reserves. So this is a matter of concern here. Again, the areas have great biodiversity like tigers, vultures, mahasir fish, gharials. So they will be at a risk, and the ecosystem will be harmed, obviously. Apart from this, the geology of the area is also very unique, and many of the limestone topography areas which will completely destroy by the geology of this region. See, this limestone topography area is the area where if the water comes, it actually dissolves into the water and the whole rock system collapses. So a kind of collapse will also be seen in the particular geology of this area. Apart from this, felling of 23 lakh trees will occur, which will result into deforestation of this area. Okay, so the deforestation of this area will result into obviously the release of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, which can further trap great energies from the sun, and also it can result to global warming and further to climate change. And around 10,000 people will be left homeless, and the project does not mention anything about the reconstruction and the rehabilitation of those persons who will be displaced, and their houses will be submerged into that area. So they are not talked of in the project, and there is a huge economic cost attached with the project. The cost is around 35,000 crore, and this was according to the 2017 prices. Okay, so this might have inflated by now. 35,000 crore was the project cost, and because this is the national project, so 90% money will be given by the central government and 10% will be shared by the state governments. So 10% means 5% by Uttar Pradesh and 5% by the Madhya Pradesh state government. Apart from these challenges, the flora and fauna will be destroyed at one place, and on other side, the government is spending crores of rupees for the conservation of the same biodiversity. As we all know that gharial is a national vulnerable animal. Apart from that, we have a tiger project in India also. We have project vulture also. So all these animals are being saved by the Ministry of Forest through their conservation projects. And instead of saving them through the conservation projects, these newly planned projects will actually destroy their habitat totally, which will incur a great environmental cost. Now I will tell you some basic informations, that is the about some dams which are already existing into this area. So the dams which are already existing into this area are Rajghat Dam. This will be important for your prelims examination. Then you have Paricha Dam, and also you have Mata Tila Dam. So these are the dams already into the Ken Betwa basin, and the Ken river actually meets the Yamuna river, as I show you in the map, in the Hamirpur districts of UP. Remember this, Hamirpur districts of UP. and the Betwa river meets the Yamuna river. It meets the Yamuna river in the Banda districts of UP. Okay, so remember this basic information for your prelims examination perspective. And from this all discussion, what suggestion we can bring out is, for this upcoming project is, instead of planning such big canals and big infrastructural projects which are involving huge cost in both economic, social and environmental perspective, we should be very focusing on the rainwater harvesting system, which is an old and very sustainable system, rainwater harvesting. Apart from that, we should also check our groundwater. So the groundwater has been, the lifeline of India for the past 4 decades, and I think in the coming days also it will serve as the lifeline of India. And also local irrigational processes should be explored before this project comes into being, because in such a huge economic cost, I don't think the great benefit will be there, because Cane ultimately is a rain fed river. Okay, so rain fed river do not have too much of water content into them in comparison to the Himalayan or the glacier melt rivers. Okay, so rain fed rivers like Cane do not have such surplus water that 35,000 crore needs to be invested into that. Apart from that, we can use sustainable methods of rainwater harvesting, groundwater recharge facilities, local irrigational things, and also the landscape management plan. So the landscape management plan should be well built by the authorities, so that this whole cost is not incurred into the particular area. So thank you guys, take care, and this was my analysis on the Cane Betwa link canal. If you want the notes of this particular topic, or if you want the PDF file of this particular topic, then you need to join the Telegram group, and the Telegram group is Developing Success IAS. Okay, this is the name of the Telegram group, Developing Success IAS, and I will also give the link in the description box. Check it out. Thank you and take care.